Hey, this is Space Marine 2112 with, guess what, a music video. That hasn't happened in a while. Yes, we are doing something a little different. I've been doing a lot of progressive rock because that's typically my favorite, but tonight I want to go back to the beginning where rock really started to gain a foothold, inspired a lot of the bands that I like, including Neil Morris very heavily. We've got the Beatles. Beatles have got a lot of good stuff. It's only recently that I really got into them. I always knew them by some of their like beginning hits, from their first couple of albums, which are catchy type tunes you hear on the radio, and you're like, hey, it's pretty good. But then I found out about their later stuff, Rubber Soul and onward, and I'm like, man, they got super experimental with stuff. They got like the sitar and all sorts of like, various foreign instruments that sound really cool, and I really got into it, and you know what? I have some friends that don't like their harmonies quite as much. I'm fine with their harmonies. I think they're actually quite good. I think that the Bee Gees and other bands like that might have better harmonies, but still, some fantastic music that these guys have put out over the years. Without them, we wouldn't have had many of the bands that we know and love today. So I thought I'd give them a little bit of a shout out here and go ahead and do ourselves a little bit of a tier list. Now, obviously, there's no Beatles album that's absolutely terrible. I tend to now lean towards the later Beatles albums in general, so you'll probably see more of those going towards the top. But to make it fair, I'm going to try to do what like the Wheel of Prague, or they call it Wheel of whatever they're doing that day. The Prague Report does this Wheel of Prague show. I kind of find that really interesting, and they got to like try to fit all these albums into a row by a certain count. They don't leave any album empty, and they try to make them all match. So that's what we're going to try to do here today. I believe it's 3 per column, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, 4. Okay. So a couple columns are going to have 3, and a couple are just going to have 2. That's fine. We'll probably fill up the top couple. Easy peasy, right? So anyway, the verse of the day, I did it in my last video. When I do multiple videos a night, I don't want to have to repeat the same thing, but it's Psalms 35. I'll have that in the link in the description. It's a really good Bible verse for the day. I explained it in my last video if you want to go check that out. But anyway, let's get to it. So first we have the self-titled White album here. This is right after Rubber Soul. This is when they're really starting. Or no, this is that's Revolver. They're both white and black. Anyway, this is right before Abbey Road. They are starting to come out of like the crazy experimental phase, but they still got some really good tunes on here. Some of the most well-known ones back in the USSR, Dear Prudence. Probably my favorite Beatles song, Why My Guitar Gently Weeps. Happiness is a Warm Gun, Martha My Dear. Now, this is, obviously a 4-sided album, so there's a lot more songs, but still, even then, there's so many good songs on here. Sexy Sadie, Helter Skelter, Revolution. Well, Revolution 1 anyway. Revolution 9 is a bit weird. I could keep going on, but this is a fantastic album. I'm trying to think of where I would put it because, you got Sgt. Pepper's and some of these albums. I really like... Well, we'll get to that. I am going to go put this at A. I don't know if it quite reaches S tier with what we got coming up, but it's a highly influential album and tons of songs that are just fantastic that I really like. So I'm going to keep it there. I will say they do have a Yellow Submarine album, that was... made by George Martin, one of their producers or whatever. I guess he's like the fifth Beatle in a way, I think they say. So that's not on here. It's not really essential in my mind. It was for like a movie soundtrack. I've never seen the movie. There's a couple new ones on there that are pretty good, just orchestral type pieces, but other than that, there's a couple Beatles songs from other albums. It's really just kind of a compilation in a way, so it doesn't need to be here. Let It Be. Now, I'm actually not too crazy about this album. They actually recorded this before Abbey Road, but it ended up appearing after Abbey Road. They were kind of disintegrating at the time, so kind of a sad time for the band, but Let It Be. It's a good enough song. I've heard it about a billion times though, and whenever a song I could listen to Tom Sawyer a billion and a half times and not get tired of it. But some songs are just too slow for me to really want to listen to them a billion and a half times. And when I hear this all the time on the radio, I can't get into it. Like some of Boston's stuff as well, which I'll have to eventually review Boston, but there's only like 4 albums, so well, there might be 5 because I kind of resurrected, but there's just some songs that you hear so many times that they might be good road tripping songs if you got friends with you or whatever, but I usually tend to skip Let It Be because I've just heard it so much. Now I do like the Long and Winding Road on there. That's a great one. And then I, Me, Mine is pretty good. A couple of other songs on here are okay, but in general, it's not one of my favorites. It's not one of their worst, but it's not one of my favorites. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in C for now, since something's gonna go down there. And then we can go with Revolver here. Now, again, I always get this and the White Album mixed up because it's pretty much white, but, it's got such a cool album cover with their faces and, various screenshots of them in various costumes, I think, or something, so it's pretty fun. This one is just absolutely loaded. I'm looking at Spotify here, as I usually do, to see what songs I got. I pretty much got every song on this album favorited. The only 2 that I don't have favorited are, Dr. Robert and Hey There and Everywhere. So, or Here, There, and Everywhere. So, this album's stacked. Again, a couple songs like Yellow Submarine I could stand not to hear again, but, it's still a great song. This is when they're really coming into their prime here. Rubber Soul started it, they've got that kind of foreign experimental type sound, and they're really going here, firing on all cylinders. It's not as good as what comes after it, but it's still a fantastic album. I'm going to put it up here in A with the White Album. I kind of see these two as, Abbey Road is kind of on its own, but when you got Sgt. Pepper's and the Magical Mystery Tour right next to each other like they are, those two for me are the peak, and then they kind of come back again with Abbey Road, and these are right on the sides of the peak. So, still very excellent. It's definitely the golden era, but it's not quite as good as some of the ones that are coming up, or what we have right here next. Abbey Road. I don't think there's a single song I don't have. Okay, I don't have Maxwell's Silver Hammer as one of my favorite songs, but you got the long one on here, which is pretty much it's a progressive tune. It takes up half the album. It's kind of it's a all over the place concept. I don't know really what the story's all about, but it's pretty hilarious to listen to, but also just fun and rocking at some parts, especially Polythene Pam. Oh man, it's so good. I've heard 2 different versions of it where Her Majesty's either right after Mean Mr. Mustard or at the very end. I don't know which. I really don't know how Her Majesty should fit in there, but either way, the whole thing is just great. Come Together is an obviously very well-known song. Octopus's Garden is fantastic. I Want You, She's So Heavy is one of the heavier songs they got, and that sounds like an even more modern prog piece, really, to me. Because they're all so good. So this is definitely S tier, probably their top album. It's sad that the last album that they ever recorded ends up being their best. If they would have kept going, who knows what they could have done. Their solo stuff's pretty good, but nothing as good as this, man. Oh man, that's so good. ELO would kind of take their sound and do stuff with it. I think the Beatles have even said if they were to have continued, they probably would have ended up sounding something like ELO in their earlier days. So, you can kind of look at ELO as kind of an extension of the pseudo-Beatles, or Beatles adjacent. Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get anything more than this, because Abbey Road was fantastic. So next, we've got With the Beatles. That's their second album. I always get this one and Please Please Me confused, because they're from the same year. And when you see all their faces, you're like, oh, that's got to be their first album. But no, that's their second. I do like these songs. I've got almost all of them on my playlist. I mean, there's one of the original Rollover Beethovens. I mean, there's so many bands that have done that song and covered it, so I can't remember who actually did it originally. But, I Want to Be Your Man, Devil in Her Heart. I mean, it won't be long. There's a lot of great songs on this album, but it is more straightforward. You're talking like good road trip music, or like, I want to be happy, so I'm going to listen to some just like happy, upbeat type music. And that's what they were. They were doing a lot of radio hits, early '60s. I mean, this is what you had to put out to become big. So I think they do a great job at it, but it is not anywhere near their later stuff. So I actually don't know where I'm going to put this because, again, it's not a bad album. It's just, I don't know if it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put it in. Jeez, I hate this. I'm going to put it in D for now, and then we'll see if I rearrange it. And really, it's the same thing with the first album, right? I mean, you got a lot of hits, actually, well, you got Twist and Shout, it's from Ferris Bueller's. That's a good one. Please Please Me, Boys, Anna Go Get Him. Yeah, or Go to Him, sorry. There's, Taste of Honey. I mean, there's so again, it's kind of the same thing as the second album. I kind of actually don't know if I like it as much. I think they're known as like the Blue and the Red albums, but I think the Blue album is slightly better than the Red album. Again, just, songs that, are kind of good, upbeat, type songs that are good to listen to on a road trip or something if you're hanging out with guys and it's like in the background or something like that. But, it's not something that I really want to get into and listen to the full album in one listen and, really experience like their later stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm going to put that. Beatles for Sale. Now this is interesting because I actually like the album before Beatles for Sale slightly better. But yeah, you got What You're Doing, not the Rush song. You got Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. I'm just looking at the ones that I got on my playlist. 8 Days a Week, Rock and Roll Music, Babies in Black, I'm a Loser. Pretty good stuff. They're starting to get a little bit more complex at this point, not quite the Rubber Soul levels. But, they're still, they're finding their way, and, they got, good harmonies and whatnot, and it's still upbeat and everything, but it doesn't quite hit me as much as the album before it or the album after it, so I'm going to probably put this at the bottom of C. Again, it's an all right album. I mean, none of their albums are bad, but it's not quite up there as much as some of the other albums for me. Then you got Rubber Soul. Now this is when they're really coming into their element. Oh wait, no, okay, I messed this up. Help is after this one, and then Rubber Soul. It's the same year, but I'm not like a Beatles expert. So, I mean, as much as I like their music, I have not memorized the order of their albums yet. Sorry about that. Rubber Soul, this is when they really started getting into it, getting a little bit more experimental. They were over in India and stuff, trying out different instruments and drugs, which helped their creative expertise. But anyway, I mean, this album's got so many hits. Not hits, but, songs, bangers is what I meant to say. It's funny, you say hit, banger. I mean, they're both having to do with, like, some sort of violent act. I don't know, I got it mixed up. Anyway, You Won't See Me, Nowhere Man, Think for Yourself, The Word, Girl, I'm Looking... The girl's kind of funny, they have that part, like, it sounds like they're, like, blowing out from, like, a cigarette or something. Girl. Yeah, I don't know. I'm Looking Through You, If I Needed Someone. Yeah, those are all, they're great songs. Little bits of, like, parts of Girl that are just kind of fun and, like, I wouldn't really say wonky. What am I looking for? Kind of cheeky, just like, it's fun stuff to listen to, and like the songs are very good on here. Oh, Norwegian Wood, how could I forget that one? Yeah, great songs on this album. They're really starting to come into their element and their later sound that I really would come to love. So I'm going to put this in B. So that's when they really started getting going, at least for me. Now, the next one here is arguably on any given day, nah, it can't beat Abbey Road, but it's right there with Abbey Road. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I mean, the whole album is. There's not many bad songs on this album. I'm trying to think of one that I don't. I mean, there's some that are okay. I don't know if like She's Leaving Home. I can't remember that much. But I mean, yeah. I mean, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and then With a Little Help from My Friends. Those two start off the album kind of in a concept manner, and then it ends with the Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band closer. I even have the extended edition of the album or whatever that has A Day in the Life, I guess, at the end. Or unless that's supposed to be there. Again, I can't remember. Being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Now, I do like Elton John's version of it a little bit better. He's very good at just redoing some of these songs and covering them. I mean, he's just, he does the same thing with Pinball Wizard from The Who, which I got to rank The Who albums at some point too. But, I mean, yeah, I do like his redone version of that song, but I mean, you got to have the original, right? So the original's amazing. Fixing a Hole's great. I mean, yeah, I could go through all the songs. Lovely Rita. Yeah, great album. It's definitely going into S tier right next to Abbey Road. I mean, I come back to this album all the time, so yeah, got to put it there. Help, which is another movie that I did not know was a movie. I just thought it was a Beatles album. This one I like slightly more than Beatles for Sale, but again, it's still in that earlier phase. Very catchy songs on here. Let's see, the one Ticket to Ride, Another Girl, It's Only Love, title track, obviously, The Night Before. Yeah, there's quite a few. I've Just Seen a Face. Yeah, there's a lot of good songs on this. But again, it's not the later stuff, but I kind of like their sound on this album. I don't really know how to describe why I like it more than this, but yeah, album before Rubber Soul, they're, I guess, starting to slowly transition that direction. I really like it, so I'm going to put it right here for now, and we'll see how these all stack up. And then another one that I like better than Beatles for Sale, even though it's like an earlier album, and it's actually earlier than No, wait. See, I get these mixed up again because I got all the blue in them. Yeah, so I probably said that this was earlier. No, this is the one after Beatles for Sale, so I mean, they're on the right track here. But no, A Hard Day's Night. That's, gosh, I don't know what the heck I'm saying. This is why I do not deserve to be a YouTuber. Anyhow, yeah, Hard Day's Night, title track is great. Can't Buy Me Love. Any Time at All, Things We Said Today. I mean, just all fantastic songs. I kind of like the songs on this album better than Beatles for Sale. So I'm going to put this ahead of that. Well, I guess I might as well put it here then. Again, I just let it be. I mean, it's more polished than these earlier albums, but the earlier albums have more songs I'd rather listen to, so I got to put those ahead. Again, none of these are bad albums. They're just kind of like on a day-to-day basis where I would put them. And I guess if we're going to do 2 rows with 3, I should probably put Rubber Soul up one. Magical Mystery Tour, though, to me is... I mean, again, it's weird. You got to be in the right mood for it, right? I mean, they were definitely having a good time, in the back room writing these. But, I mean, again, it's another one of these albums. I mean, even Blue Jay Way, which is an extremely weird song. You got to be in the right mood for these. Is an excellent song. It's very experimental, kind of proggy. I mean, there's nothing like it in 1967, really. So, I mean, this is like the beginning of that. Kind of a weird album cover, to say the least. But, I mean, yeah, you got the title track, you got Fool on the Hill, fantastic. Your Mother Should Know, I Am the Walrus, Goo Goo Gachoo, baby, yeah. It's a weird song, but it's good. I like listening to these. I don't know. I like a little variety, Gotta mix it up. Hello, Goodbye, Dennis DeYoung, actually, from Styx, his, maybe it was his last or second to last solo album, kind of has a song that's like an ode to the Beatles, and it's got all these references, a lot from this album actually on it. You could probably tell which one was his favorite. It's very theatrical, you know. So was the album before it, you know, or two before it, or no, it is the album before it. Gosh, now I'm mixing it up with the White Album. Yeah, they're both kind of theatrical, kind of like it's a whole, not really a play. This is like a concert, and this is like a play. So, you know, I really like these two albums best. And then Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane. I mean, yeah, Baby You're a Rich Man. I mean, it's just such a great album. On any given day, I'd almost switch these two, but Sgt. Pepper's is just. I would say Sgt. Pepper's actually has a little bit of a heavier rockin' tone sometimes than Magical Mystery Tour, but so many people the last couple of years have actually done, well, many people just throughout the past. I saw Ambrosia the other day, and I didn't even know that they did a cover of the title track Magical Mystery Tour, so that was kind of cool to see. Glad I got to see Ambrosia live before they retired at any point, but yeah, I mean, that song alone, I've heard like 5 or 6 different versions of it, but I love it every single time. So, yeah, I think that's how I'm going to rank these albums. Again, I like all of them. I used to not know very much about the Beatles because I was into like newer rock, like 1972 onward. But then I started getting into older and older stuff, listening to early Who, early Bee Gees. That was another one. And then I started listening to Beatles. I'm like, you know what? I've been sleeping on this band. They're so good. I only knew about their like radio hits, but they got a lot of good stuff. So again, we wouldn't have many of the bands today if we didn't have the Beatles, and I just thought I'd do an episode commemorating them and their awesome catalog. I'll probably do some of the solo stuff for some of them. Not Yoko. But the other ones, the other solo stuff for them, hopefully in the future, because, you know, Wings and all that is really good. George Harrison solo. I mean, yeah, it's all great stuff. So we will be getting to that eventually. Many bands to get through. The main problem is that I know, like, there's a lot of bands that I know, like, half to 3/4 of their albums, but not all their albums, so I gotta, like, analyze and do more of a deep dive. Otherwise, I can't correctly rank them all. So, luckily for the Beatles, I've heard all their albums. I've gone all the way through it. They're relatively new for me because I've only listened to them the last year and a half, 2 years. So, you know, I'm not like an expert in all the history that was going on at the time or anything, but, you know, I mean, still some great albums. So, yeah, let me know what you think about this ranking in the comments, what your own ranking might have been. I've seen a lot of rankings online. It seems like these 3 are usually the White Album, sometimes switches with these, or Revolver. These 5 are usually in the top 5 somehow. Sometimes Rubber Soul sneaks in. So, you know, I think I'm pretty similar to other people, but these 3 up here are the bomb for me. So, yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one, folks. Goodbye.